All right, so Revelation 12 and 11 says, we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the power of our testimony. So I know that I said that I was going to start doing testimony time because we have gotten away from telling testimonies. I know a lot of times some people probably don't like to share their testimony because they may seem shameful. But our testimony is a word for somebody else that's going through the same thing. They may be in bondage and your words will set them free. So I'm going to share one of my testimonies because I'm still being tested. But I received the word from the Lord to move to Dallas, Texas, out of my comfort zone. I was living in Atlanta, Georgia, and I had liked everything about where I was living at. But there are some situations that arise that caused me, that made me move after his word, because I sometimes have a little trouble with moving when God say move. So sometimes you have to snatch stuff from me. But anyway, so I went to my mama's house first before I moved to Texas. And I was living with her for like a month before we actually got up and moved. And before I moved, the Lord said, I'm about to test you. And I was kind of confused because I was like, I'm already being tested. I just lost everything. I don't know what else, what other kind of test he was going to give me. But needless to say, before I came out here, I had everything lined up. Everything was in order. I had a place to stay and I had a job lined up. But on my way to the place he sent me, things start taking a turn for the worst. And to make this story short, because I could do it in parts, but to make this story short, I ended up having to stay in a hotel for like 2 months, to where a lot of my money was being spent on the expenses of living in a hotel. Then I had to come up with like 2 times the rent to move, and then 2 weeks later I had to pay rent again. So anyway, I had to make 2 trips, a lot of number 2s. I had to make 2 trips to get the rest of my things out of Georgia to come back to Texas. And on my way back to Texas again, because I was getting hit left and right, on my way back to Texas, I was in the middle of nowhere and my tire caught a flat. And as my tire caught a flat, I was kind of was a little bit upset because it was hot and I was in the middle of nowhere. So I called my insurance company and they said that it was going to be 180 minutes before they reached me. So I sat down, I called my mom, who only made things worse because she was worrying. So I was like, let me just get off the phone with her because she's making me worry, and I'm losing faith right now. So I got off the phone with her, and after I got off the phone with her, I started eating some popcorn that I had in the back seat, and she laughed at me now because she was saying, she said, you know, I was sitting there eating popcorn like I was watching a movie. But anyway, so as I'm sitting there eating the popcorn, I look in the rearview mirror and I see a cop pull up behind me. Now, mind you, I'm in the middle of nowhere, and it's very rare for the police to be on the interstate in the middle of nowhere. So as I'm sitting there, I see him coming on the side, and he helped me get everything out. He helped me get all of my clothes and everything that was in the trunk. He got that out. He put the spare tire on for me, and then he helped me put everything back in. I called my mama. She was relieved. She was like, you know, there was nobody but God, because I was praying that something had, because I didn't want you to stay out there for 180 minutes by yourself with a puppy. So long story short, through the midst of everything that I was going through, I still trusted that God was going to see me through, because I was being obedient to his word, obedient to him saying to move to a place when I had everything in control. I had everything in control. So the test was to see if I was going to be obedient and stay where I know he told me to go, although everything didn't look like it was working in my favor. And I had a lot of negative voices in my ear as well, asking me if I was sure that God wanted me to move here. And I'm like, listen, let me tell you something. I know that we have a misconception of who God is. And we like to see God in big miracles. And we don't look at him in the small things. But it's the small things that matters as well. You know, same God that did it before, he can do it again. No, this ain't the first time that I had to start over. And it ain't the first time he told me to move. And I remember my daddy, he was like, well, I mean, is it every year you got to start over? I said, well, yeah, you know why? Because God is working on my character and he's working on my patience. And he told me, it's the way that I respond to his dealings with me during the test that's going to determine how long I'm going to go around Mount Sinai. So I say that to say, even though things look rough, even though things look tough, and it may not look like what you want it to look like, he's still in the midst of it. As long as you know you're being obedient to his word, he got you. He may not come through with a house. That may not be what he have for you. But what he do have, and what you do have, is his word. And that he's going to be with you. That he's going to be a provider. He's Jehovah Jireh. Doesn't mean that he's going to provide money all the time. Because I know we got God in this box that we need to get him out of. We always think that when we hear the word provider, that he's going to provide money. But it's not always money. It could be strategy, wisdom, understanding, people, whatever it may be. So stop looking for materialistic things. Stop looking for God in the big picture and look for him in the small picture, because it's the small things that matter as well. So y'all have a good day. I have more testimonies that I'm going to share later. But I just got to get my thoughts together, because if I don't, then I'm going to just be talking and it's going to sound like I'm rambling. But be encouraged, because he's with you through the storm.